it's Jennifer from Fiberflux. In this video, we're going to learn how to crochet the Watercolor Landscape Shawlette. This is a beautiful triangle lacy shawlette, a mini-sized shawl, if you will. And I've added an optional button, so you can button your shawlette together like this in the front, or you can kind of wear it asymmetrically. If you hop over to the Fiberflux blog, you can see more ways to style the shawlette as well. We're going to be using a very easy, let me just open it up so you can see it a little bit better. We're going to be using a very easy lacy stitch made with very basic stitches, and I'm going to show you how to do all of those as well. Now you can use solid or variegated, but the variegated yarn, since it's such an easy stitch, it shows up quite nicely. For this project, you'll need a pair of scissors, a ruler or tape measure is helpful, not necessary, but I like to have one around when I'm making pieces like this. You'll also need some buttons. I used just one toggle button in the corner just to kind of keep it closed, and you can really increase the styling options as well, the way you wrap it and secure it with the button. So this is a darker wood toggle button, but I also grabbed some other ones. Here is more of a stripy wood button, like a traditional button. This one is made of shell. They all kind of look really pretty with this variegated yarn. And you can also use a wood bead if you don't have a button handy. That works very nicely as well. You'll also need a tapestry needle and a 6.5 millimeter K crochet hook and your yarn. The finished piece here I used Red Heart with Love, and I also grabbed another skein of this because this is the solid and this is the variegated. I used, for the finished one, a color called Water Lily, and I wanted to grab both because, just to point out, the variegated colors, each ball of that is 230 yards. The solid colors come in two different sizes. The larger one, this one, is 370 yards. And the smaller solid balls of this Red Heart with Love are 315 yards. So I used every last bit of this yarn except for just a few yards. And let me just grab it. This is all I had left. I worked until I couldn't make another full row. So I just had a little bit left. And if you use the solid colors, your shawlette might be a little bit bigger, unless you stop sooner, of course. But I just wanted to point that out because the yardage is a little bit different with the variegated and the solids of this yarn. And again, this is called Water Lily. If you need to substitute yarn, just look on the yarn label. You'll need something that's a medium or a 4 on the yarn weight scale, and something that recommends the K crochet hook, this 6.5 millimeter hook. The finished shawlette, and if we open it up here, let me just flip it around, it's upside down. The finished shawlette measures about 17 inches tall, and then across the wider top edge of it's a triangle, so across the wider top edge, it's about 40 inches across. And then when you wear it, you can either wear it traditionally around your shoulders like a shawl, or you can button it closed and kind of wear it asymmetrically, or just kind of button it in the front. If you want a longer, wider, more traditional shawl, try using 2 balls of the Red Heart with Love variegated. So that would be 460 yards altogether, and your shawl would be much, much bigger if you want the larger size. So you can try that as well. So let's get started. Our shawl is sort of a V-stitch. It has more of a rounded bottom, and we're going to just start with a few chains to begin. And as we work, we're going to be working outward and upward, and the shawl will be growing in width and height as we move through each row. So to begin, what we need to do is put a slip knot on our hook. To make a slip knot, wrap the yarn around your fingers to make a loop. Bring the yarn behind the loop, reach in with your hook, bring up a loop, and tighten. Our shawl has a starting chain of 7, so to make a chain, wrap yarn around hook and bring it through the loop. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now this shawl looks a little bit more complicated than it really is. This is actually a really easy shawl with very basic stitches. So we're going to work row 1, and then I'm going to show you how to work row 2, and row 2 will be the row that you repeat for the entire shawl. So it is very simple and easy to memorize quickly as well. So let's begin row 1. For row 1, we're going to count into the 5th chain from the hook. This loop here does not count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So in this chain here, we're going to work our first little fan. So right in that chain, we're going to work 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet. Okay? So to make a double crochet, wrap yarn around hook, insert it into that chain, bring up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. Wrap yarn around hook, bring through the first 2 loops. Wrap yarn around hook, bring through the last 2 loops. So that's 1 double crochet. Let's make another. Just like that. Then we're going to work a chain 1 and then 2 more double crochet, all in that same chain. So that's 1 and 2, just like that. So we'll have our first little fan shape here. Next, we only have a few chains left. We're going to skip a chain, and in this very last chain, you're going to do the same thing. 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet. So that's 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, chain 1, and then work 2 more double crochet. So 1 and 2. Now this particular yarn I'm using is a pretty quick changing color yarn. You can see I have a little spectrum going on already. You can use a slower color variegated yarn if you prefer, if you like your colors to kind of play out a little bit more slowly. But this is a faster changing yarn. Okay, so that is row 1 already. We're complete. So let's move on to row 2. Okay, so like I mentioned before, row 2 is the row that you repeat for the entire pattern. So what we want to do is chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and turn our work. Next, we're going to locate the center of the first fan we made, and that will be the chain 1 space is what I call it in the pattern. So you can see how we made our 2 double crochets here, and then they are separated by chain 1. So right into that space is where we're going to make our next fan. So go ahead and make 2 double crochet in that chain 1 space. So 1 and 2, then a chain 1, and then 2 more double crochet, all in that same space. Okay, just like that. And you can see how the 2 fans kind of stack on top of one another. If you've ever made the V stitch, this is kind of like a double V. Okay, so once you've made your first fan, hop over to the next fan that you've made. You can see the 2 double crochets and that chain 1. We're going to make our next fan into the center of that fan from the previous row. So once again, work 2 double crochet, 1 and 2, chain 1, and then 2 double crochet, all in that same chain 1 space from the previous row. And I really love how these colors are playing out. They look really pretty. This is a pretty easy yarn to find and a pretty common color. I've seen it in several different stores, and you can also get it at redheart.com as well. Okay, so to finish up row 2, you're also going to make a fan into the turning chain space. Now normally you just make 1 stitch into there to finish off a row, but that will make your piece have straight sides. But because we're working outward, we're also going to put a fan into the turning chain space. So once again, into the turning chain space, work 2 double crochet, just like this, and then a chain 1, and then 2 more double crochet. 1 and 2. And row 2 is complete. See how easy that is? It's so easy to remember. Just work your fan into the chain 1 space of each fan from the previous row, and then another fan into the turning chain space. Let's repeat row 2 one more time, just so you can see how the next row will play out. So once again, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and turn. Here's our first fan, that chain 1 space. Work a fan into that fan, right into the center. So 2 double crochet, chain 1, and 2 double crochet. 1 and 2. This color changes so frequently, almost every stitch or 2 or pair of stitches is the same color, and then it switches to another color. It's really neat to work with yarn that changes color so frequently. It keeps it interesting. Okay, hop over to the next fan, which is right here. We're going to work a fan into that fan. So 2 double crochet, 1 and 2, then a chain 1. My yarn's kind of creeping over here. Okay, I just did a chain 1 and then work 2 double crochet all into that same fan. 1 and 2. Okay, we have another fan here. We're going to work 1 into that one as well, just all the way across. So 2 double crochet, 1 and 2, then a chain 1, then 2 more double crochet, 1 and 2. Okay, let's finish up the row now and do the same thing we did in the previous row, because again we're just repeating row 2. And see how our shawl has a nice kind of sweeping rounded bottom to it. It's not a pointy V, it's just going to kind of be a sweeping bottom. Okay, so into that turning chain space, work 1 more fan to finish up the row. Okay, so 2 double crochet, 1 and 2, then a chain 1, then 2 more double crochet. So I just simply repeated row 2, but I just wanted to show you one more time. Okay, so let me remove my hook so we can look at this for a minute. As you keep repeating row 2 over and over and over, these fans are just going to keep growing upward and outward. Okay, so it's getting a nice shape and the colors are playing out beautifully. So to finish up your shawl, just keep repeating row 2 over and over and over and over again until you run out of yarn or until your shawl is as large as you'd like it to be. If you want your shawl to be a little bit smaller for spring, we can just call it a shawlette. We can have a shawlette size. Or if you want it to be very large, you know, it can be a full-size shawl as well. It's totally up to you. So I'm going to keep going with row 2, and then once our shawl gets a little bit bigger, we will rejoin and I'll show you how to finish it up. Okay, so I'm just working that very last fan into that turning chain space of the last row. And then our shawlette will be complete. Now I used 1 skein of the Red Heart with Love, but if you want your shawl to be bigger, you could opt for the solid color, which will give you a bigger shawl, or you could do 2 balls of the variegated yarn, but I'm going to stick with this little shawlette style. Okay, so then what we want to do is just cut the yarn. Now I just have a little tiny bit left, not quite enough for another row, so I'm going to end it here. We're going to cut the yarn and just fasten off. Then you can grab your tapestry needle. Now if you only did 1 ball like I did, you'll have 1 little tail here at the bottom and 1 tail where we just left off. So go ahead and thread your tapestry needle and then just go ahead and weave it in. Now I'm going to try, because I have a tail that it's in the blue-green family, so I'm going to just try and stay in the blue and green area of my stitch work here. So just send it through one direction and then just come back in the other direction. You can trim with your scissors. And then we're just going to do the same for the other tail at the bottom. This is where we began our shawl, so you can just weave it in. And again, my tail this time is purple, so I'm just going to try and stay in this purpley area if I can. Because if I start traveling my tail through other colors, it will be a little bit more obvious that there's a tail there. This will help it blend in a little bit more. So if you can, if your tail is long enough, try to, like I did, come back in the other direction. That will help lock your tail into place. So we can just put that yarn aside. So once you've woven your tails in, if you like, as an option, the button I mentioned earlier, you can also attach that. Now you can just wear your shawlette as is, but I'm going to add a little button just to show you. Now what you can do is just grab one of your pieces of yarn, just a little piece. I'm going to be using a toggle button. So what you want to do before you begin is just make sure your needle can pass through the button hole, whatever button you are using for your piece. And what I'm going to do is, this shawlette is completely reversible. So I am going to just sew the button into one of the corners, one of these top corners. It doesn't matter which because it is reversible. And just come up from the bottom with your yarn. Go through the buttonhole like this, and then back down through the shawlette. And then we're just going to do that one more time just to make sure everything is nice and secure. Go all the way around. And then we can just take our yarn and securely tie it into place. And then you can just weave these tails in when you're finished as well. Okay, I'm finished sewing the button on and everything looks great. This is a beautiful piece you can give as a gift. I made mine pretty quickly. I worked this up in about a day. Now if you want to opt for a larger shawl with more yarn using another ball of yarn, you know, of course it'll take a little bit longer. But this worked up very, very quickly because of this K hook that we were using and the lacy stitches. And it was also really fun because of the color changes. So that's it. That's how you crochet the Watercolor Landscape Shawlette. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure and click the subscribe button to get all the latest Fiber Flux video updates. Thanks again.